Welcome back, folks, for a new episode of Leaked. Today we're going to cover the upcoming Tier 10 Clan Wars reward. It's the American M48A2, T54E2, T123E6. Yeah, it's a long name. So basically, this is a Patton tank customized with a T54E2 turret and a T123E6 120mm gun. So I'm just going to call it the Patton Customized. Now this tank is basically 3 different medium tanks in one. So let's talk about each different medium tanks. So we'll start off with the American T54. The American T54 was based on the M48 Patton's hull designs, so it shares a similar hull shape, but there were 3 versions of this tank with 3 different turrets. The first version is called the T54 with a conventional turret and an autoloading system, so it's like a giant bulldog in a sense. The second version is called the T54E1. This has an oscillating turret with an autoloader, so this is the current Tier 9 medium tank. Now historically, this autoloader could carry up to 9 rounds for the drum, the 105mm gun. So it's, for game balancing purposes, it's only 4 rounds in the game. And the last version is the T54E2. Now this has a conventional turret with a single shot cannon, so it's not an autoloader, as a single shot with a human loader instead. So here is a picture of the T54E2. So as you can notice that this is a conventional turret, not an oscillating one, and it's a single shot, so it's 105mm. The T54 project was cancelled in 1956 because this tank wasn't that vastly superior to the M48 Patton, so the whole project was cancelled. And in 1957, the attention moved on to the T95 medium tank. The T95 and T96 became the main attention towards building a replacement for the M48 Patton. So this tank has advanced unusual features like silicous core armor or new transmission and the Optec fire control system. The T95 was managed by Detroit Arsenal, whereas the T96 was handled by Ford. So both tanks were sharing the same components, and they tested a lot of guns on these 2 tanks. So like the 90mm smoothbore and rifle guns from the M48 Patton, and they later moved on to the 105mm. The T95 project was like a mixing pot of combining different medium tank parts to see if the tank would be better than the M48 Patton. And when they move on to the T95 E6, this version of the tank has a T96 turret with a 120mm T123E6 main gun. This gun is a smaller variant of a T123E1 or the M58 that's on the M103. So that's all the parts that's contributing to this Tier 10 medium tank. So what happened to the T95 and T96 projects? Well, these tanks were not that much better than the M48 Patton, so the whole idea was scrapped. But the engineers did learn a few stuff and they placed it onto later tanks. So stuff like the L7A1 was pretty good, and they have an American licensed version of the L7 called the M68. They placed it on the M48A5 and the M60 Pattons. Later on, the M60 Patton also have the T95 E7 turret. So a lot of stuff were taken from these tanks, but these tanks were not that much better than the predecessors. So basically, this upcoming Clan Wars reward is a fictitious blend of actual parts from the T54 and T95 projects. But let's see how good the stats are in the game. And here are some in-game screenshots of the M48A2 customized. So this vehicle is classically American, based on the tumor on top. That's such a key characteristic of all American tanks, including tank destroyer such as the T110, E4, and E3. And the T71. Oh boy, this cupola is everywhere. If they would fit a Pershing or T29's cupola, I think it would look a little bit prettier without the machine gun, but you know, General Patton always loved more machine guns onto a tank. If you can fit more, you fit more, and he would be happy. The old blood and guts. But this tank is not that bad looking. It's sleeker than the M48 Patton, so this turret is pretty aerodynamic, I guess. It's not that bulky. but here are some in-game models, as well as the collision models for the M48A2 Patton. As you can see, the hull armor is exactly the same as the M48 that's currently in the game, but the turret is more rounded or highly sloped than the M48 Patton's turret. But the mantlet is a lot smaller, and the big weak spot is the cupola again. So yeah, this tank is not meant for bouncing a lot of shots. Side armor is a rainbow. Taste the rainbow. Oh boy. So this tank is not designed for armor. Don't go trying to bounce a lot of shots with it. No steel wall for you. But here are the main game stats for the M48A2 customized. So it has 2000 hit points, which is quite good for a tier 10 American medium tank. That's above average. Average is about 1900, 1950. It has an 825 horsepower engine with about 50 tons. So the power to weight ratio is 16.6, which is slightly below average, but about the same as Russian tier 10 medium tanks. So that's quite alright, I guess. Top speed is 48.3 kilometers per hour, reverse is 20. A little bit slow, but alright. Hull traverse is 50 degrees per second. Turret traverse is about 40 degrees per second. The turret traverse is rather slow in comparison to other medium tanks. Oh well. Terrain resistance is 0.76 for hard, 0.86 for medium, and 1.72 for soft. Slightly above average, but not that much. Pretty good. View range is 400 meters. That's below average for an American medium tank. That's really below average. I think it should be like 420. Oh. Radio range is standard, so nothing to complain. Hull armor is 150 at the front, 76 at the sides, and 38 at the rear. Turret armor is about 200 at the front, 76 at the sides, and 51 at the rear. Now, it's not all 203mm for the turret at the front. It's about 140 right here. So the only parts that are 203mm are this little cheek right here that supports the mounting of the gun. So that's pretty much it. Don't expect to bounce a lot of shots with this turret. It has a 120mm gun, which does 258mm of penetration with normal AP, I believe. And each shell has 340mm of penetration. Each shot does 400 damage, only 10 above the average for 105mm for tier 10 mediums, so ick. Rate of fire is about 7 rounds per minute. DPM is slightly below average, 2800 or so. So the average is about 2900, and this tank is slightly below average in terms of DPM. Reloads every 8.6 seconds. You can decrease the reload to 8.2 seconds with the gun rammer, I believe. Accuracy is 0.38. That's kind of bad. That's actually really bad. Aim time is 2 seconds. Below average. And the gun depression is 10 degrees, so key characteristic of all American tanks. But the only thing that's off for me is the accuracy. 0.38? That's really bad. I mean, it's a 120mm gun, sure, but tier 10 medium tanks have about, on average, 0.34 accuracy. So this gun is not that accurate, surprisingly. Is it the same as the M103? I don't know, that might be M103 in terms of accuracy, but that kinda sucks. And let's compare the Patton Custom with a normal Patton at tier 10. Now armor wise, the hull armor is the same, so nothing to compare there. The turret is up for debate because one turret has a better sloping, but the other one has a bigger mantlet. So yeah, it's up for debate which turret is better, but both turrets will not bounce that many shots. It could bounce a few shots from like tier 8s and tier 9s, but rarely bounce from tier 10s, so don't depend on it. But there's still the big prominent weak spot, that's the cupola on top, so armor is not the best. So let's compare the other stats. These two tanks have the same health, which is above average, so that's good. The horsepower per ton ratio is slightly smaller than the normal Patton, so That kind of sucks, and it's below average. So these two tanks are slow to rev up. Top speed is faster than the normal Patton, so that's good, but still below average. Hull traverse is the same, average. Terrain resistance is the same, okay. And turret traverse is slower than the normal Patton, only 39.6 degrees per second, so that's really slow. View range is way underneath the normal Patton by 20 meters. So yeah, I thought this was really bad for American medium because usually they have slightly slower mobility but very good view range. This is really low in my opinion. Yick. Radio range is the same. Okay, let's compare the guns and DPM. So penetration is not that much better than the 105mm, and even though it has a better alpha, it's only 10. DPM is about the same, so okay, that's fair. I thought the average was like 2,900. Oh, probably I was thinking about the Russian tanks. Oh well. The accuracy is 0.38 in comparison to 0.34. The average is 0.33. So it's not that accurate. Holy crap. Aim time is on average but slower than the normal Patton. So ick. And the gun depression is 1 more degree than the normal one, so that's good. But what really surprises me is the accuracy, 0.38. That's really bad for a medium tank at tier 10. Even 0.34 is kinda bad for a tier 10 medium. 0.38 is probably the worst. Is it the same as the M103? Hopefully not. Holy crap. The M103 has 0.355 accuracy. This thing has a smaller variant of the 120mm gun, has 0.38 accuracy. Jesus Christ, that's pretty bad. And the view range is surprisingly bad. So you can see with the view range, only 400 meters. Yick. So the average view range is 405 meters. So this is kind of bad view range for a tier 10 American medium tank. I mean, I would expect 400 meters from like a Russian or something. Let's see, T62A. Yeah, Russian. So I would expect the 400 meters from Russian tanks or Chinese tanks. Is it the same as a 121? Yeah. So that's really bad view range and really bad accuracy. That really sucks. And the final opinion about the M48A2, T54E2, T123E6 is that this vehicle is not that good. I mean, the only downside is the view range, which is uncharacteristic of all medium tanks for the Americans or British. So that really sucks. It's supposed to have one of the best view range, 420 meters. But nope, only 400, like a Russian tank. And accuracy, 0.38. Yeah, that's really bad. I mean, you do have a higher caliber gun than the 105mm, but you have less penetration and only 10 more alpha than those guns. I mean, give it like 440 alpha. That will be pretty good with the crappy accuracy. That would counterbalance the weight. So, yeah, it's not that good of a vehicle. So don't get too salty if this is a Clan Wars reward, alright? Don't be too salty. It's not that good. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. I've been stumbling along this video for a long time because so many numbers. Oh god. M48A2, T54E2, blah 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 blah. Jesus Christ. There's like 10 million numbers. You see how many numbers there are? I took notes. Freaking Christ. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. And here are some in-game screenshots of the T95. Oh boy, here comes the numbers. Shit, mess up right here.